Hello. This is Paladino Live. We are on thesportstuff.com. We are on iTunes and MediaFly, and it is great to be back as this is episode number 14, and it is the 27th of May in the year of our Lord, 2008. And we are ready to rock and roll as this is going to be a very basketball-heavy show. We're going to do a little talk about the Stanley Cup Finals first, so we'll get that out of the way, as that's not been the most entertaining series to start things out here, that's for darn sure. But that's pretty much the way hockey's been this year, late in the postseason. But anyhow, again, now, this is Paladino Live. This is thesportstuff.com. And, of course, iTunes. Some of you out there download this show off of iTunes, and I greatly appreciate it. Great to have you on board. I'm glad to bring this show to you, and I would like you out there, please, people out there that listen to this show, please tell your friends about it. Tell your friends about the show. Let's get this thing spread out. Let's let people know. Let's get more listeners on board, as we would like to get this thing on the move. Now, here on thesportstuff.com, we do have a message board, and it is at thesportspodcasters.com/boards, thesportspodcasters.com/boards, along with, on the front page of thesportstuff.com, there is a button that should say TSS Boards on the upper right-hand corner. It's there 99% of the time, provided there's no website construction going on, but site's been pretty sturdy of late, and I'm very happy. It's been sturdy for quite a while now, and it looks great. We have lots of other podcasts on here as well. Don't abandon Paladino Live, though. Don't forget about me. But do check the others out, as they are worthwhile, especially if it's a team that you like, or say maybe it's somebody that you've heard before, and hey, this guy's a pretty good podcaster. Yep. Well, I'm glad to hear that you might think I'm a good podcaster as you're listening to this show, and keep on listening. As I said, keep spreading the word. Now, anyhow, there is a call-in line, and I'd like you to please use this, as it adds so much to the show. It adds a third dimension to any podcast, as we can interact with our fans or listeners by hearing their voice. Everybody can hear their own voice here on the radio. Why not? Give us a call here at 916-912-4263, 916-912-4263. It is a voicemail. Mention the show that you are calling. Say, I'm calling for Paladino Live, and my name is Jack, or whatever. Probably leave a name in town. Whatever town you're from, that works too. So if you're from St. Louis, let us know. It adds some dimension to the show. Make your comment, complaint, trash talk, compliment, whatever. Let's have some fun. As this show actually will have some involvement via the message board, as I put on my first poll up there. Now, as I get into basketball, the question is going to be, who should the Wolves take with the third pick? And I got a lot of response on here, and I greatly appreciate it from you, and I will be reading a lot of those responses and letting you know the results to this point. And, of course, this poll will remain up for a while because, hey, why not? Let's keep the discussion going. Now, first of all, we're going to head into the Stanley Cup Finals, and we're going to do that after a quick break.
What's up, listeners? This is Farzine. I am the host of the Chiefs End Zone Show right here on thesportstuff.com, where we cover the Kansas City Chiefs, give our opinions, and go deep inside with the Kansas City Chiefs right here only on thesportstuff.com. We encourage you Chiefs fans, you loud Chiefs fans out there, to get on the show, voice your opinions, get on our boards, and talk with us. All listeners, including Bronco fans, are allowed in our show. So be sure you check out the Chiefs End Zone Show right here on thesportstuff.com with me, your host, Farzine.
Here on thesportstuff.com, get on board the Viking ship with Purple Mafia. We will talk about the new Purple People Eaters and the best running back in the NFL, Adrian Peterson. this team is ready to make a move forward. Purple Mafia is available on thesportstuff.com along with iTunes and MediaFly. Simply download and listen to the most honest and passionate Vikings coverage. And we have returned here on Paladino Live. And of course, again, this is episode number 14 for all of you wanting a reminder. And, well, real quickly, we're going to get into the Stanley Cup Finals, as that's the only major thing going on in hockey right now. And, well, it's going to be pretty brief because, well, Pittsburgh Penguins haven't scored a goal yet. We're 2 games in. Game number 1, Detroit wins 4-0. Game number 2, Detroit wins 3-0. So go figure. And it's looking like the Detroit prediction is going to be correct, as Detroit just proving they have the top momentum overall. Now Pittsburgh's momentum was just unbelievable going in, but it's funny how hockey is that way. 2 teams with great momentum going in, and only one of them can sustain that momentum, or the other one just completely collapses. And the Pittsburgh Penguins have done that so far here in the Stanley Cup Finals, and it's almost certain that they're not going to win now because they haven't scored a goal. I mean, they look like the Minnesota Wild did in 2003. The Minnesota Wild ran a run, but then this happened to them. They ran into John Sebastian Giguère. And now the Pittsburgh Penguins are running into a guy by the name of Chris Osgood. Remember that name? Remember Chris Osgood? Yep, Chris Osgood, a member of the Detroit Red Wings in the mid to late 90s and helped them win Stanley Cups in the past. Now, he was not the goalie during Detroit's 3rd Stanley Cup championship. That was in the year 2000, 2001, I believe, right around in that season. Detroit winning their 3rd. That was Dominik Hasek, and Osgood was gone. And Hasek was the starting goalie going into the postseason, at least kinda, because they're kind of doing a similar thing that the Wild used to do with Rolison and Manny Fernandez, the little 2-goalie system. And, well, Osgood has been so incredible throughout the postseason. Well, he's going to help Detroit win another Stanley Cup. So he's going to get his 3rd ring with the Red Wings, also known as the Dead Things if you hate the Red Wings. But this thing is looking very much in favor of the Red Wings. And my goodness, Michael Samuelson, scores the first 2 goals in Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Finals, both unassisted. Daniel Cleary gets the 3rd goal, his 2nd of the postseason. Samuelson had his 3rd and 4th, but then Henrik Zetterberg, a guy who's probably going to be one of the Conn Smythe Trophy candidates in the postseason, with his 12th goal on the power play to bury the unfortunate Pittsburgh Penguins. That was very late in the game. There's only about 23 seconds left in the game, so kind of almost like rubbing it in, but hey, that's just how it goes. Your goal is to get it done and win. You know, this is the Stanley Cup Finals. This isn't playground where you feel sorry for your opponent. You gotta get her done, and that's what happened. Now, I think Osgood has got to be the favorite for the Conn Smythe Trophy because he's been perfect in the Stanley Cup Finals and has been excellent in the entire postseason. Marc-Andre Fleury, a guy whose stats were very much identical to Osgood going in, not the same. And that's unfortunate for Pittsburgh Penguins fans. And I'll get quickly into what I think is going to happen later on, but we're going to quickly slide here into Game 2. The box score, 3-0. Just another not so fun game for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Detroit scoring only 6:55 into the game. Brad Stewart, his first goal, followed up by Valtteri Filppula. Filppula, excuse me. I can't. That's a name I'm not familiar with, but yeah, he was the number 2 star in this game, a goal and an assist. Osgood, number 1 star in this game, of course, 22 saves. And see, that's the thing. Osgood only had to stop 19 shots in Game 1 and 22 in Game 2. So what does that tell you? I mean, Pittsburgh just not the same. Very flat. Valtteri getting his Filppula, excuse me, there you go. I think I finally got it right. His 4th goal, assisted by Johan Franzen and Brad Stewart. So Thomas Holmstrom got the 2nd goal, assisted by Henrik Zetterberg. But yeah, Detroit peppering Marc-Andre Fleury. I believe they've had 34 shots in both games, as I'll go back and check that super duper quick. 34 shots in game 1, or in game 2, 36 in game 1. So, yeah, Detroit clearly the aggressor, and Pittsburgh, well, Pittsburgh pretty much covering their face. They're the kid getting beat up, covering their face right now, saying, okay, stop picking on me. I can't do this right now. Stop it. This is worse than I ever imagined. But these are two teams headed in two different directions, long-term and short-term. Now, short-term right now, Detroit is obviously clearly the team heading towards a championship. Pittsburgh heading towards not getting one, headed towards second place or whatever you call it. Just, their season ending without a title. But it is my opinion that long-term, these teams are also headed in another direction. Now, it could take longer than I expected, as in episode 13 I did make the comment that I think this could be Detroit's last hurrah. At least a last hurrah in terms of Stanley Cup championships. Like, they may end up like the Boston Celtics in the NBA, or how they continue to be very, very competitive years after they won their last NBA title, because the Celtics won their last NBA title in 1986. And we're still competitive through 92 with the big three, McHale and Parrish and Larry, the legend, Larry Bird. So it could be the case with Detroit, where I think this is going to be their last Stanley Cup for a while. Now, this is just my opinion, so I could be totally wrong. But when you got guys like Osgood and Hasek getting much older, Hasek is about 43. Nicholas Lidstrom, the best defenseman in the league, is 38, and Chris Osgood is 36, or he will be 36 November 26th. So, yeah, I mean, age is going to catch up. Obviously, guys like Steve Yzerman, he's gone. So, and I can't imagine that Chris Chelios is going to play too much longer, despite the fact he is ageless, because he just keeps playing. But I just am not convinced that this team is going to be in the Stanley Cup Finals 3 times the next couple of years. I mean, yeah, Henrik Zetterberg, who had a phenomenal year, is only see, this is why they're going to stay competitive, because you look at Zetterberg, he's only about 28, or will be 28, so he's still got quite a ways to go. His hockey players last in this league. He had 92 points this year. Other players here with Rafalski is much older, 73 he's born, so that makes him about 35. You got all these valuable guys on this team that are aging, and that's just the way it's going to be. Johan Friesen, solid year, nothing spectacular. He's only 38 points. That's okay. That's not the kind of guy that's going to lead you to a championship. He's about 6 months younger than myself, so 28. So there you go. Whereas the Pittsburgh Penguins, there is no reason to not believe that this team is on their way to being the next dynasty. Like, Detroit is going to be the old dynasty. They're going to win one more, and then the torch will be passed to the Pittsburgh Penguins, in my opinion. I think it's dynasty of old versus dynasty of new. And, of course, the veterans are going to get one last time, because when they face head-to-head, the veterans, if they still got it, they're going to take it, baby. If they still got that talent, they're going to take it, and that is what is taking place this season, as the Pittsburgh Penguins will be back in the Stanley Cup Finals. If they're not, I will be completely shocked. And I'm saying so shocked, I won't know what to think. So that is my analysis on the Stanley Cup Finals. Detroit, well, I picked them in 7, and I don't think it's going to be quite that many anymore. It'll probably be 4 or 5. So that's unfortunate, but that's how it goes. And that is my analysis, and we will return for some heavy basketball talk. We're going to talk about the NBA, or who the Timberwolves should draft, and also the conference finals. Boston Celtics, Detroit Pistons, LA Lakers, and the San Antonio Spurs, both of which right now are pretty much on course with what I expected, believe it or not. And I will get into that right after this.
What's up, everyone? This is Farzine, host of Kansas City Boom on the sportstuff.com, where we cover the Kansas Jayhawks, the Missouri Tigers, the Kansas State Wildcats, and other local college teams. We also touch on the Brigade, Wizards, Royals, and other sporting events in the heart of America, Kansas City. Only on Kansas City Boom. Listen to Kansas City Boom right here on thesportstuff.com with me, your host, Farzine. I'll catch you on Kansas City Boom.
And we are back here on Paladino Live. And first of all, we are going to now get to that poll. Who should the Wolves take with the third pick? So now this is on the Sports Stuff boards. It is in the NBA section, in the Minnesota Timberwolves section. I am the moderator for this section, as that's my quote-unquote title here on thesportstuff.com. So let's dive right on in here. Now, the poll consists of 4 players: O.J. Mayo, Brook Lopez, Jared Bayless, and Danilo Gallinari. And right now, Brook Lopez is leading 6-3 over O.J. Mayo. Jared Bayless and Danilo Gallinari not getting a single vote. So I don't know what the deal is with that, but that's how it goes. I'm surprised that Brook Lopez is winning, as I personally picked O.J. Mayo, but a lot of you out there like Brook Lopez. Now, I understand the Minnesota Timberwolves didn't even have a center pretty much all year when Theo Ratliff went down with that knee injury and eventually was waived and picked up by the Detroit Pistons. But I don't know. I'm sticking with my guns, folks. O.J. Mayo to me is the guy to take home on draft night. And I've heard talk that Rashad McCants is in trade discussion. They are in trade discussions. His name is being brought up. So I'm 100% for at least exploring what you can get for Rashad McCants. And if that indeed is going on, O.J. Mayo, baby. O.J. Mayo. There you go. There's your solution. Keep Randy Foye at the point. O.J. Mayo, starting shooting guard. Corey Brewer, small forward. Corey Brewer or Ryan Gomes, the way that's going. Al Jefferson. Unfortunately, you're going to have to decide on what to do at center. That's the problem. But you got to take the best player available, especially when you're the Timberwolves, because this team always screws up. Whenever they draft on need, like Radoslav Nesterovic, to me, just a complete waste of time. I just couldn't stand it. And, taking Wally Zerbiak back in 99, it was a good pick, but they could have done better. They specifically just wanted a guy who could shoot. That's all that was a guy who was the purest shooter in the draft. And he was, but you passed on Rip Hamilton, you passed on Sean Marion, you passed on Ron Artest. And I know, stop laughing out there. I know Ron Artest is a thug, a punk, and a retard, but he's a very good player. He is a very good defensive player as well. Just overall, you got to take talent. Now, of course, Ron Artest should have gone instead of at 14 instead of William Avery, who was a completely worthless wash, of a pick. I mean, I've never seen anybody fall about as far as he did. Pretty much unbelievable, as he never was a factor ever. He was done with his 3-year contract once it was up and they could have a team option on whether to keep or let him go. Well, that was the end of William Avery's NBA career. But I certainly don't see that happening with any of these 4 guys listed. Absolutely not. And the $1 million question remains, which one really will be the best player? The ultimate truth is, my opinion, this is of course not even close to fact, my opinion is O.J. Mayo. But that's the hard part. You just never know. What if Jared Bayless ends up being, the next Baron Davis? Or Danilo Gallinari ends up being like another Dirk? Or Brook Lopez, Is Brook Lopez Mark Blunt? Or is he, say, like a Tim Duncan? You just don't know. That is what's so painful about these drafts. There were 2 guys who are most likely the safe picks, and of course the Wolves get number 3. And it's going to be tough stuff. But yeah, now that I'm done with that little anecdote, we are going to get to the comments here. Puppet Master, as he is a moderator of the Detroit Pistons section, that's an excellent basketball team, by the way. His comment, O.J. Mayo, endless talent. Definitely don't go with that foreign guy. The Pistons tried that, didn't work. I hear you, man. I hear you. Darko Milicic What a bummer, man. You could have had Carmelo Anthony. You could have had Dwayne Wade. Wow. And there's another player, it's escaping me, you could have had. I'm not 100% sure who it was. It may have been Chris Bosh. I could be wrong. Bosh went the year before. But yeah, good point, Puppet Master. And yeah, I'm with you. OJ Mayo, buddy. Rusty, administrator, and obviously co-host of the crossover, Knicks and Nets and Knicks. Excellent show. Love it. His comment, if I was Kevin McHale, I'd seriously be looking at Brook Lopez. The T-Wolves need another quality big to back up Big Al, and Lopez looks a very likely type. If they decide to go small, well, then I'd go OJ. The thing is, though, the T-Wolves already have Foley, McCants, and Telfer vying for extended minutes in their backcourt. It's a tough call, but I'd go with Lopez. I agree, Rusty. It's a very, very tough call, and I lean OJ. I'm not sure if you really want to worry about somebody backing up Big Al. I'm pretty sure Rusty means more or less he's got somebody to be with Al up there in the front. Lopez, you'd want Lopez and Al together. You'd want Lopez, if you're going to get him, you're going to want him to be the starting center and Big Al at power forward and competition at small forward between Ryan Gomes. If he's here, if we re-sign him, he's a unrestricted free agent, by the way, or Corey Brewer, who is absolutely going to be here long term. Now, good point about the overcrowded backcourt. And to me, if OJ is indeed the guy, McCants most likely is gone, as they're not going to trade Randy Foye. They're just not yet. That's he is too big of an investment to just dump just yet. Despite I was very, very disappointed in him last year, as a lot of you probably know already. Telfair, of course, not a guarantee to return. You just don't know if somebody's going to spend too much for him. As we all went through the Phoenix Suns deal, Marcus Banks offered $5.5 million by the Phoenix Suns years ago. Ridiculous, stupid, and Suns are not happy about it, as our buddy Dave Eng, probably not a big fan of Marcus Banks either, or his contract, and somebody might make the same mistake with Telfair. I would love to have Telfair back, but not at that price, so we'll see what happens. Next comment made by Quack, moderator of sports betting and the Portland Trailblazers, a team I like a lot. He's responding to what Rusty said. He says, I doubt they're looking to draft Al Jefferson's backup with the number 3 pick. Exactly. Yeah, that's true. But then Rusty quickly responds, I didn't mean backup in the sense that he could come off the bench to give Al a break. I meant backup in the sense that he could start alongside Al and take some of the pressure off his enormous shoulders. Exactly. Good point. Now, there is Dave Eng, Deng, moderator, Phoenix Suns, and great Run and Guns podcast, Phoenix Suns show. I would address the need for another big and go with Lopez. So another Lopez vote, as the Aussies love Lopez. I saw his highlight video on NBA.com. He's pretty ferocious inside on both ends. So, yeah, good point. Lopez getting drafted would not kill me. It just wouldn't. Now, Gotts, who is the Twins podcaster on this station, he wants Lopez. I personally don't care for OJ Mayo, and the combination of Jefferson and Lopez will be hard to match. Nowhere near the caliber of Robinson Duncan, but it's better than what they have. Well, absolutely. Absolutely it's better than what they have. The closest thing we ever had to Twin Towers is either Joe Smith and Garnett or Rasho and Garnett. And, those two those two guys, Rasho and Joe Smith, softies with a capital S. They're soft with a capital S. They're terrible, I tell you. Especially Rasho, as the center position for the Wolves. There's a reason why I'm nervous and afraid to take a center with the Wolves, because we have been putrid in that area forever. Every time we take a center, we blow it. It's the wrong guy, and he's a pussy, and I just can't stand dealing with that. And I just pray to God that Lopez isn't that guy. But we'll see, as he would be most likely the best center in Wolves history, as he would have to be. If he isn't, then it's the worst pick ever. Kevin McHale should be fired after that. If he wasn't fired 6 years ago, he should be fired for this draft pick if, say, he takes Lopez and he falls. My opinion right there. Quack Pack just laughing at Rusty's enormous the comment about enormous shoulders. All right. Red Sten, moderator, San Antonio Spurs. All righty. And his comment, Lopez. That's who he wants. A lineup of Foy, McCants, Brewer, Aljeff, and Lopez with Telfair, Gomes, and Snyder off the bench will help them become somewhat competitive. And if Foy develops into a good point guard, then yeah, they'll make the playoffs in a few years. Brewer is key to this team too. Absolutely, Redstein. Nice comment. Good insight there. Yeah, it would definitely complete the lineup. That's for sure. You'd have a full-time center. Obviously, no guarantee Telfair, Gomes, or Snyder will return. I'm sure at least 2 of the 3 will. I wouldn't mind if all 3 did, but we'll see. Good comment, though, definitely. As you guys are definitely trying to make me believe in Lopez. And, well, I mean, yeah, to this point, I wouldn't think he'd be the worst pick, but, yeah. Cush, administrator, and obviously the head coach. What am I talking about? The podcaster of running with the Bulls. Excellent show also. He voted for Brooke Lopez just for headline purposes on draft night. Brooke heads to the land of 10,000 lakes. Gold. So making a little quick comment there as he's just having fun. But yeah, he, in all seriousness, does like Lopez, as his comment also after that. But seriously, folks, I like Lopez with Jefferson. That's good size there. Brewer and Foy too. They have a nice young core. Yep, sure. Not a bad comment. You guys are continuing to make me believe. And so Rusty is telling Cush to never try comedy again. Nice. Quack. Sorry. Brooke Lopez is a stud. He has incredible touch on the post, and he takes over games when they're on the line. Exactly. That's the one thing that was mentioned on KFAN by Paul Allen. He also made that comment that Brooke Lopez, the ball did go through him. Whenever Stanford needed shots to be made late in the game, Brooke Lopez was a go-to guy. Now, we know that's college basketball, but a go-to guy is a go-to guy. So it's somebody that desires to lead his team when they need shots. And Kevin Garnett never was that here in Minnesota. So if you get a guy who wants to be clutch and has that desire to go out and hit the clutch shots late in the game, a la Tim Duncan in the post, that's cool. That's probably the most intriguing part about Brooke Lopez right there. That's some good talk right there. Second City diehard, moderator, Chicago Cubs, and also Bears fan. He's responding to Brooke Lopez's Quackpax's comment, and he says, but he also seems to have limited athleticism, which could really hurt him on the defensive end. That's my concern. You just don't know. And, well, he did block 2.1 shots per game. Don't forget, to me, it's his rebounding is his weakest point. Rusty, again, comments, I'm not sure that's a huge issue with the position he plays as he's responding to Second City diehard. He'll have the likes of Corey Brewer backing him up, so any deficiencies in Lopez's D might not be as much of an issue as they might have otherwise been. We'll see. That's kind of hard to say. You just don't know. And I make my comment in there saying I'm sticking with OJ Mayo, as I'm saying. Yep, I'm going to stick with him. But yeah, the Lopez intrigues me more than he did before. Yeah, exactly. That's how I feel right now. And the final comment made by Joey, a Lakers fan, and he's responding to what I said about sticking with OJ Mayo. He says, I agree with picking Mayo. So finally a third guy. I even thought Mayo should be ahead of Rose. Big comment there, which I know people will think is crazy. Lucky drafting isn't up to me. But I wouldn't be unhappy with Lopez either if I was a Minnesota fan. 20-10 with 2 blocks in overrated Pac-10 is pretty good. And quote-unquote overrated, so he's saying that that's bullcrap about it being overrated. Yeah, Pac-10 isn't too bad, but I do agree. I really love Mayo. I think he has the star quality, and a team that gets him won't be disappointed that they didn't get a top 2 spot. I agree. I think Mayo is clearly the number 3 guy, just like Dwayne Wade was in the LeBron James and Carmelo Anthony era. And obviously, Anthony's become the number 3 guy of that trio by about 15 miles because Dwayne Wade has delivered a championship and LeBron James is on his way to becoming the best player on the planet for a long time, in my opinion. But, Dwayne Wade became that, and we'll see. And Miami, rumors abound. Miami likes O.J. Mayo enough to at least think about him at number 2. At least, they really are intrigued by him, apparently. I'm not completely buying that they're going to pass on Derrick Rose or Michael Beasley for O.J. Mayo, but you never know. You never know. I mean, I'm thinking it's going to be, it's probably like 5% chance that they do that, because you're passing on you're passing on a clearly number 1, number 2 guy. So we'll see. We will see. With that, we're going to move very quickly now, to the NBA's conference finals. And as I said, both series going exactly as I expected to this point, believe it or not, despite the shakeup that Detroit did. Now, Boston winning Game 1. Here we're starting with the Eastern Conference Finals. Boston, of course, winning Game 1, 88-79. Garnett very big in this game, and that was the night, and I'm like, I really, I'm going to stick to my guns here. I got a sneaky feeling that the Boston Celtics are going to win the whole thing. That's what I was thinking that night as I was watching, that this team, despite their deficiencies on the road, they're going to win the whole dang thing. And, maybe, as Garnett was huge this night, 26 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists. Huge, absolutely huge. Rondo with 5 steals. So, and Pierce, solid game, 22 points. Ray Allen, kind of 9 points. But very intriguing night by Boston, as they pretty much handled the Pistons all night. It was never really that close of a game, except for small stretches here and there. But Game 2 was the one that scared a lot of people into thinking, hey, maybe Detroit is going to win this, because Boston now is going to be tested. As Detroit wins 103-97, Boston loses at home to Detroit. My friend Paul Tuniverse Caniff made a comment saying that Pistons are going to win now, the whole thing, like beat the Lakers or Spurs too. Yeah, it's possible, very possible, but I am going to stick to my guns. I made that comment anyway. Ray Allen finally wakes up, 9 of 16 from the floor, 2 of 4 from 3, and made all 5 free throws. 25 points. Ray Allen finally waking up. So that was a good sign, at least in that sense. But Rip Hamilton, huge, absolutely huge in this game. He hit big shots all over the place. He shot below 50%, but he made 10 of 12 free throws. And, 25 points, 4 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks, 3 rebounds. Just hit big shot after big shot. Chauncey Billups looking healthy, at least in this game. 19 points, 7 assists, big shots down the stretch. Big shot Billups, 2 of 2 from 3-point range. Raweed, as he smokes weed all the time. Rasheed Wallace. Also contributing nicely. 13 points, 10 rebounds. McDyess really becoming a factor here. 15 and 8, 15 points, 8 rebounds, 3 steals. But Tayshaun Prince, the ever consistent defensive menace, playing 44 minutes in this game, doing a very, very good job, despite being an average to be below average shooter, 5 of 15 from the floor. The big three looking very good on this night. It's unfortunate as they just did not get it done. Pierce with 26, Garnett 24 and 13. Those are like the numbers he got here in Minnesota in the past. But that is it just wasn't enough. Sam Cassell not seeing the light of day all of a sudden. And a lot of us wondering what the heck was going on at that point, as you need some type of spark to get things going. No Sam Cassell. But fortunately, Game 3 came around, and if my prediction of Boston going to squeak this thing out in 7 was going to be true, they need to win a road game and, to regain home court advantage. And guess what, folks? Boston destroys Detroit in Detroit. They finally conjure up some of that old Celtic magic and defeat the Pistons on their court 94-80. As this game, pretty much no contest through the first half, got a little closer in the second, but never really close enough. Detroit fans booing the entire game. Absolute just boo, boo, boo. They were not happy campers at all. There's some arguments between the sports commentators, or Mark Jackson saying, well, yeah, they should boo. They have every right to be upset with this team, for performing so poorly at home. when, this is an opportunity to take the driver's seat in the series. Jeff Van Gundy disagreeing, saying, hey, you got to support your team. Maybe you could get a rise out of them if you stand up and say, hey, let's go, pump it up. But I agree with Mark Jackson. Mark Jackson and I seem to think exactly the same way whenever we make any comment at all. And it's pretty cool. Just one point guard to another. So there you go. We seem to think alike a lot when it comes to things like that. Fans had a right to boo, because I've been on the wrong side of these type of games before as a fan in the stands. Minnesota going in 1-1, coming home 1-1 against San Antonio years ago, getting beat by 35. I mean, it is painful and really disappointing when you think your team has some type of momentum on their side and they just lay an egg beyond belief. Now, this was way, way back in 99, the spring of 99. San Antonio had not won a championship yet, so this wasn't during any dynasty run. So just letting you know on that one there. So nobody knew about San Antonio winning championships just yet back then. Rip Hamilton, the leading scorer again on this night. 26 points for the Pistons, but he was the only guy who really stepped up other than Rodney Stuckey, who has been very valuable for the Pistons. He has been holding that team together at the point guard spot as Chauncey Billups, again, struggles mightily. He was a minus 25 in this night, 1 of 6 from the floor, not aggressive at all. 6 points, 4 rebounds, 2 turnovers, 3 rebounds in only 27 minutes. So Chauncey Billups and that hamstring, not looking good at all, and could be the end of the line for the Pistons long term if Chauncey Billups cannot regain his quickness. As it'd be a shame to see the Pistons lose because of that. It'd be better to see them lose because Boston steps up and beats them, just simply beats them at their best. As that's when sports are at their best, when things go in that direction. Now, very quickly into Game 4. This was a butt-whooping for Detroit this time. Detroit wins by 20 this time, 94-75, or 19, whatever, if you want to be exact. Ray Allen's shooting back to sleep again, only 2 of 8. Rondo, 2 of 8. Ray Allen manages 11 points because he got 7 of 9 from the line, so not bad. Not a single player gets over 16 points for the Celtics. Garnett, the overall top player in this game, 16 points, 10 rebounds, and 3 assists, along with 2 blocks. But this, my goodness. Now, I forgot to mention Jason Maxiell of the Detroit Pistons. Now, he had 14 points and 3 rebounds and 1 block in this game. But yeah, that block, again, guess who that block was on? Kevin Garnett. And guess who 2 blocks in the previous game were on? Kevin Garnett. Jason Maxiell has been swatting Kevin Garnett like he's like a schoolboy out there. It's been unbelievable. As they've been some embarrassing blocks, boy. I mean, Game 3, me and Marcus the forecaster were watching Game 3 at Mark's apartment, and my God, man, I was just Marcus is on the phone, I'm watching the game, and I just flip out. I couldn't believe Garnett didn't even get to move forward. Maxiell already had his hand in the ball. Garnett couldn't even follow through on anything. The ball never even came out of his hands until it was on the floor. Unbelievable play by Jason Maxiell. As Pistons find 2 really awesome role players in Rodney Stuckey and Jason Maxiell. Stuckey just might become more than just a role player, the direction he's going. A great draft pick by the Pistons in the mid-rounds. McDyess, though, the story of the night. 21 points, 16 rebounds in Game 4 as the Detroit Pistons even up the series. Chauncey Billups struggling again, only 3 of 12 from the floor. 10 points, though he did get 2 assists, or 2 steals and no turnovers, so that's good for Chauncey. But other than that, this series is knotted up and pretty much exactly where I expected it. They just flip-flopped games 2 and 3. So go figure. I am sticking to my guns. Boston in 7. I think Boston wins Game 5 on Wednesday, loses Game 6 on Friday, and wins on Sunday afternoon in Boston. I mean, they will win that game. There is no doubt in my mind that Boston would win Game 7 at home against Detroit. Absolutely. Only one team can win Game 7 on the road, and that is the San Antonio Spurs. As now we slide over to the Western Conference, as we are getting into the twilight of episode number 14. That series is 3 games in. The Lakers, in Game 1, trailing by 20 points. And I remember chatting on here with Farzine and other members of the sportstuff.com boards saying, man, San Antonio's going to win the whole dang thing, aren't they? Because the way they were kicking LA's butt. And how San Antonio, when they play like that, they never blow their lead, right? Ever. San Antonio never gives up a game in the playoffs in that type of situation. When they're hitting, it's over, and they're going to go on and win the championship again. It's the last thing we want. But it was just unbelievable what happened. After sometime during the second quarter, how LA recovered and got within 8 points. They got under 10 points, believe it or not, at halftime. And it's like, there's still a shot here. LA still trailing after 7, but then they beat the San Antonio Spurs 24-13 in the fourth quarter. As Manu Ginobili had the look in his eye like he wanted to kill somebody. He was so furious. And you know what? I am not a Spurs fan, and I'm sorry, Redstan, but I hate the San Antonio Spurs because they've already got their 4 rings. And no, this is not somebody crying because I hate winners. I'm not a player hater. I'm not a Spurs fan, and I'm tired of seeing them play. I don't like Tony Parker and Ginobili because I think I just don't like their attitude. I just don't. I think they have an attitude. Bruce Bowen, I don't like at all. He's very much a cheap shot. Other than the fact he's a very talented player, he is a cheap shot, absolutely. So yeah, it felt good watching the Spurs blow this game. It really did. Despite Tim Duncan's 30 points and 18 rebounds and 4 blocks. That is like a Hall of Fame game by Tim Duncan. Unbelievable game. The crazy part, though, of the whole night, Kobe Bryant, 2 points in the first half. 2 points. And then you got to think, hey, you know what? Somehow, some way, along the line in this game, Kobe Bryant is going to make up for that first half. And he finished with 27 points. He finished with 27 points. That means 25 points in the second half. It's just beautiful to watch. Kobe Bryant, as much as I used to really dislike him as well, because I saw him as this cocksure guy who was a ball hog, and he was rooting and he was destroying a dynasty. He was treating Shaq like garbage, who I thought was the better player during his stay in LA at the time. Not now, but at the time. But hey, Kobe Bryant's maturity level has grown by about 300% the last 3 years or so. It has been a joy to watch. And on this night, it was, he got 9 assists in this game. 9 assists. Beautiful to watch. I mean, he is starting to show that unselfishness yet still dominance, like a certain Chicago Bulls shooting guard used to do. And that guy will remain nameless, but that guy changed his attitude years ago when he was 28, 29 years old and led his team to a dynasty. So we'll see what happens. Pau Gasol, 19.7 rebounds. So good job by him as well. Overall, though, team effort, absolute team. This team plays as a team, folks. And I haven't been able to say that about the LA Lakers for a long time until this season. And they really, really are, I really am impressed by their team play. Now, Game 2, the Spurs, obviously feeling the pain and the frustration after what happened in Game 1. And nobody scores more than 13 points for the San Antonio Spurs in Game 2, as they are destroyed by 30 points by the Lakers. And to me, this furthers more and more likelihood that the LA Lakers are going to get out of the Western Conference. They are going to get out of there. Kobe, 22 points. Lamar contributing 20 as well. So right there, I picked the Lakers to win the first 2 games, and they did. So we'll see. And now the ever-predictable Game 3 butt whooping by San Antonio, as that's just how they roll, and that's how they rolled on Game 3. 103-84, 19-point victory. Kobe breaks out the scoring, but the assists are gone. No more assists. He got one. Una. So Kobe probably getting more desperate in this game, trying to lead his team to a comeback. 4 turnovers as well. So, that had to factor into this game, and it did. Odom getting 6 assists, though, however, 5 turnovers. San Antonio playing as a team in this game, and Manu Ginobili wakes up the Giant, as he'd been very, very porous, very cold in this series. He wakes up and gets 30 points. 5 of 7 from three-point range for Ginobili, and that's the Ginobili I remember hitting 1 3 after another, frustrating opposing fans beyond belief with that damn three-point shot, because that guy doesn't miss, man. When he's going, he is going, folks. Tim Duncan, a 20-20 game, 22 points, 21 rebounds, 5 assists to go along with that. That is impressive stuff. Spurs are not dead and gone by any means. This series will go 7. It will. Despite what LA did in games 1 and 2, this game will go 7. Kobe saying they will win tonight, basically. Well, he didn't predict it, no. But he's saying they are going for it tonight. They're not going to mess around. They're going for it. And, well, yeah, you have to. You win game 4 here, and you're for sure going to win the series then. Almost certainly. But without any type of goofy, insane collapse, the Lakers would win for sure. But I think San Antonio wins game 4. I think it's going to be the home deal again. And this time, San Antonio not winning game 7, unlike what they did to the New Orleans Hornets. LA wins game 7 at home. It'll just go game 5 LA, game 6 San Antonio, game 7 LA. So I hate to say it, and I know that sounds boring, but that's the way this playoffs has gone. And these teams are so competitive in this Final Four that they are both going to go 7, and they're going to be worn out. But I am sticking to my guns that it will be the 80s revived, Boston and LA. So not just Celtics revived, but 80s revived. So we'll see if I'm right. And we'll see what happens. And I hope all of you enjoy this series. This game 4 is about to happen tonight within the next hour or so, at least in terms of what time it is for me here. But we shall see what happens. And I hope all of you enjoy these series, as they will be extended to the 7th game. And keep enjoying this May weather. It's been cold here, but I'm sure it's nice in other parts of the country. So take care, enjoy, have a good week, and we will be back when it's NBA Finals time. Talk to you soon.